Hello, welcome to another live Google Hangout on the Living Income Guaranteed. And today we're going to be discussing about the power of community, having as an example the group Women of Vienna. And we will be discussing with the co-founders that will be explaining precisely how this group came to be, what are the benefits that come when one decides to support oneself and others, the level of independence, creativity, and also getting to know fellow women that arrive into a new country. And of course, as anyone would expect, you need help, you need support. And from there, something really amazing has been born. So I'd like to introduce to our guests today, both co-founders, Betsy Akins. So hello, Betsy. Welcome to the Hangout.
Hello.
And Michelle Hrvat from
Hi, Marlen.
From the US. She's currently in the US, but obviously living in Vienna as well. So welcome you guys to the Hangout.
Hey.
Thanks
for having us.
Awesome. So to anyone that is watching, please remember that you are able to place questions, comments for the ladies throughout this Hangout, which will be lasting for about half an hour up to 40 minutes. It all depends also on you guys' questions and comments coming through. So first of all, let's start with you, Michelle, sharing about what is the Women of Vienna and how did it come to be?
Okay. Women of Vienna is an English-speaking community and resource of international and local women living in Vienna, Austria, and the surrounding areas. We are a Facebook group and also a blog. Our Facebook group acts as a resource where women can come, ask questions, gain support, share their service and businesses with others. And every month, the organizers and I, we meet and we plan events for the coming month. And this is for women within the community to have an excuse to meet up and connect with other women and have fun. And Betsy is the author of the blog where she interviews women and shares the stories of where they come from and what their experience is like in Vienna. And how this community came to be was, well, I've been living in Vienna for 1.5 years, and 6 months in, I had questions, and they were very much women-related questions, and I didn't necessarily know who to go to or where to go to ask these questions and get answers. And I was part of Vienna Facebook groups, which had expats and foreigners, but many of the people who would answer questions were sometimes very insensitive, and there were also men present. And because my questions were women related, I felt more comfortable asking women, and I wanted to go somewhere where it's like a space where I can ask women. And because there was no community or group that I could find online, I decided to create my own my own women's group, and I made it specifically closed so I could approve the members, make sure that there were women, and yeah, and so I think within a month 200 women joined, and then there was suddenly a demand for meetups and to hang out with each other. And fortunately, Betsy came along and she said, hey, I can help with event planning. So we met up and we clicked instantly, and we decided to work together with this. And then it's been a year, a little over a year, and within the year we made it to 3,000 members. So it's been pretty incredible.
Sounds awesome. Betsy, can you add on your part and the participation that you've had in this founding process?
Yeah, so I actually, this is something that I've been doing for a little while because I'm a part of an English teaching community in Vienna. So when Michelle's group popped up, I was really intrigued by the opportunity. to do something specifically for women. And like she said, we met up and we instantly clicked, and we started coming up with ideas to have meetups that would be relatively inexpensive, because we realized that moving to a new country and often also being a student in a new country and having the limitations with visa and work, you don't necessarily have a lot of money to go blowing on things. So we were trying to come up with some event ideas that would be inexpensive and an easy way for the women to connect, because at our first meeting, our first real life meeting, we had, I think, 50 to 60 women show up, and the resounding sentiment was that it was really hard to make connections and meet friends, and Vienna was actually quite lonely for them, and there was a lot of professional networking that they could do, but not a space where they could really just come and make friends. So our idea was to make sure that there were events available where you could really just come and make a friend and walk away with a friend that you would have for life. And I think one of the things that's been really great is we have a lot of regular members who come to the events often, but also we have people who stop coming. And, you know, that could be discouraging in a way, but it's actually encouraging, because I hope, and I've often heard, it means they found what they were looking for. You know, they found a friend, and now they are meeting up on their own outside, or they've got what they needed from the group and can now use that in their life. We have some study events. It's been quite a learning process, but we've learned what kind of events work well, and we moved from having one brunch a month to now having regular 2 brunch a month, a movie night, and we have regular events like that. Sorry, my headphone's falling out.
It's fine. Well, we will be discussing also about the activities that you've had throughout the time. But first, let's get into also understanding how it all started, because what was the step taken from making it an online community and seeing that it started growing and growing, and then to say, hey, why don't we meet? Like, how did you take that step? Because it's already very relevant to realize that it was like you, Michelle, saying, hey, why don't I create my own group? Like, that's already quite a cool initiative. But then when you start seeing it growing and you have that necessity to take it to the next level, so to speak, how did you come to decide that?
Someone actually just posted in the group. Someone said, hey, this is a really awesome group. You have been a wonderful resource. Why don't we meet up? And I think that's my memory of the first meetup. And we found a restaurant that could host a bunch of ladies, and we had dinner and rotated between about 6 tables and had a great time getting to know people.
So, Michelle, how many women are currently actively assisting or being part of the core group?
Well, we have a main Women of Vienna group, and that including me and Betsy, it's 5 organizers. But we have branched off into, I think it's 7 subgroups, where each subgroup is a specific, it's related to a specific subject. So we have like a cultural group, a health and fitness group, a cooking group. I can't think of the other ones, but so we have these specific groups, and we have 2 coordinators for each subgroup. So total, I think it's 19 coordinators and organizers.
And also, you know, in terms of this group, I know that the intent was coming from you, being coming from the US, living in Vienna, so kind of referring more to people that are coming to live in Vienna as foreigners, expats. So is the group formed only by women that arrive to the city, or is it also formed by people that are from Vienna?
It's both. We really want to encompass all women, especially those new in the country, because Betsy and I were there, you know, and so we know what that's like, and we want to make sure that the women who come to us can feel comfortable and know that they can get what they need. But it mostly is expats and women from different countries.
So, Betsy, can you tell us what kind of feedback have you gotten thus far in terms of the support that these women have gotten from the group? What kind of stories can you share as well?
We have had incredible feedback, actually. I think that's really what pushed Michelle and I to keep going and to keep organizing more and more events and growing the group, because there's been tons of women who have come up and personally thanked us and said, not only is this a resource that was very, very useful to me and that I can trust, because I know that everyone here has gone through the same experiences, and I'm getting answers from real life people who've been there and done that. So not only has it been an amazing experience or resource for us, but also the experience of finding friends and not being so lonely in a new city, and also for business. We've made a point to really encourage supporting female business owners and supporting women who are working as freelancers or things like that. So we've actually had a lot of business connections come from the group. Mainly, I would say our most popular thing is with photographers. We have a lot of freelance photographers, and they've found tons of connections through the group. But not only that, but it's also branched out into, I think, people providing jobs for other women or things like that. So I'm trying to think. One of the specific examples, which is great for me, is my work. I work for the Fulbright Commission. It's an exchange organization, and we were hosting a 65th anniversary party that was supposed to be a really big event, a lot of fun, and we were looking for something special. And one of the women had just recently posted in the group that her and her husband had opened a photo booth, and they were offering their photo booth for events. And I got in contact with her and put her in contact with my boss, and everything worked out. And it was actually the highlight of the entire event. Everyone was so excited, and my boss actually extended their contract by 3 hours, so they stayed the whole night. And then she told me afterwards that they got 3 or 4 other very big contracts from very big organizations in Vienna because of that event, because of people who were at the event. And that was just incredible to me, to be able to make that connection from something that was my passion, bring it into my work life, and then see it grow for her.
Yeah, I also want to add something too is I had a woman come up to me at an event, and she wanted to say that if it weren't for the blogs that Betsy did, where she shared these stories and pictures of women, she wouldn't have come to the events. She was able to relate so well to these women, and it made her feel confident to come to our events because she knows that women were in the same boat as her. So it was really, really cool to hear that kind of feedback, that we have somehow helped, or Betsy was able to inspire women to come out, to take the courage to come to these events, because it does take courage to come alone.
And also, what are some of the most common problems that, of course, specifically talking about women, encounter themselves asking for? I mean, you have some experience with that yourself, Michelle, so if you can share with it, and how then Women of Vienna has been able to assist them.
Yeah, so we get every other day, who's the best gynecologist, who's the best hairdresser, English-speaking dentists. So it's really about questions that you need answered that has to do with your survival, really, and that's so important, is to get answers on how to live well in a city, who to go to, where to get the best medical checkups and stuff like that. So we do get a lot of questions like that. And Betsy, maybe you know some more.
Yeah, I think the healthcare questions, I think, are really the biggest ones that we have, because it's intimidating, especially the system in Austria is not always clear. So we also get a lot of questions about advice on how to file for your refund with insurance, or what insurance is the best, or even we have a lot of questions on resources for finding housing and finding a job, things like that. And like Michelle said, it's living things, life things that you really need. Something that I've really liked recently is a couple times people have asked for mental health care providers. And I think it's one of the only Facebook groups that I'm in, and I'm in a lot of them, where I've seen people openly ask for a good recommendation for a mental health care provider, because that's so stigmatized and that's not something that you really want to publicize that you're looking for. But I feel like we've been lucky enough to keep the environment so positive and so uplifting and so empowering that women aren't afraid to come out and say, look, I'm having some trouble. Can anyone recommend someone who specializes in this, or relational things, or something like that?
And in relation to this, how have you found that it's been more, let's say, efficient to create this welcoming environment? Because, you know, sometimes one can be very skeptical about meeting people over the internet and things like that. So in terms of these people, I mean, there's usually a cultural shock with the language and so forth. Obviously, English being quite a commonly spoken language, it really facilitates things. But have you encountered also like the perfect method to welcome a person in your community and let them know that you're there for them as well?
Well, if women personally do make a shout out saying, hey, thanks for the ad, or, thanks for creating the group, we personally write back to them. We make sure that they're heard and that they're acknowledged. But most importantly, what Betsy and I and the other organizers, what we strive to do is we follow certain guidelines, and we're quite firm with these guidelines. We make sure that there is no bullying, no abuse with words, and if there is, we immediately try to, as soon as possible, tell the person we don't allow this, and we have a written on the side of our group, that we don't allow this. And if they do not respect that, or they do not listen, then the consequences, we remove them and we block them from the group. So we really do try to keep to that. And I think that's why women, in a way, trust us. And I think that's really important that Betsy and I, we still continue to do that, to be the type of organizers who do our best to maintain a peaceful, safe space for the women. It's not perfect, but we're trying.
I think it's so important to keep these guidelines in place and to be, in a way, strict about it, because that is what makes the community also as solid as it has become. I mean, I saw that your Facebook group has over 4,000 members, all women, and it's a closed group, which I also consider it makes this comfortable space of knowing that you're sharing between women for obvious reasons that we know in this world. It creates that sense of comfort. How do people can usually find you? I mean, if they arrive, do you have any ads, or is it just trusting or expecting the person to seek for a women's group? So how does this work? How do they find you? Betsy, do you have a comment?
Yeah, of course, if you just search on Facebook, then we pop up, because we're growing so rapidly, and I think Facebook, the way it works, it promotes groups that are growing rapidly. So I think that's one way for sure. Our members are really great about suggesting the group in other groups. So if you're a part of Americans in Vienna and you have a question about who the best hairstylist is or gynecologist, someone will say, oh, over in Women of Vienna, this question is answered a lot, and there's a lot of really great people there answering it. But I think the most exciting thing is we've actually heard people recommending us on the street. It's gotten to the point where more than once I've been sitting in a cafe having a coffee, and someone next to me will be talking to someone else about this great group they joined of supportive women. And that to me has been just really awesome, because it means that it is making a difference in their lives, and it is a really memorable group for them. Michelle?
Yeah, we're also very active on social media, and we really try to utilize social media in these platforms to connect with women. We actually have a woman who's basically our social media manager. She puts a lot of time and work to plan and schedule Instagram photos or tweets weekly. So we can connect and reach out to as many women as we can in the community.
So talking about this point of volunteering your time to it, can you share with us, Michelle, starting with you, do you guys live off doing this? Do you get any money for it? Do you have a regular job on top of that? Can you share how does this work in terms of the economics of it as well, or an organization?
This is completely volunteer work that we're doing. We are not getting paid at all for this. We really do it, I suppose, out of love, or just we're driven by a purpose. We know that it benefits women, it benefits us. So we do this out of our own time. We're basically, I mean, we have a WhatsApp group and it's like we're on call 24/7. Whenever there's a problem or an issue, we get texts about it, and we usually have to direct a situation immediately or as soon as possible. So yeah, we don't get any money from this. We have full-time jobs, so that can be, a bit of a problem is, we can't direct things immediately if we're at work, but we try our best. And if we need to rent a space for an event, we do need to charge our members simply just to help us cover the rent, and any money that's left over will be used to improve the website or to go towards business cards, and anything else that we see could benefit the group. But we don't take any of the money for ourselves. It goes all to the group.
Awesome. Do you want to add something to that, Betsy?
I think Michelle covered it pretty well, but one thing I would like to add is that free, it's all voluntary. Something that's been really awesome is that these women have stepped up to help us with the subgroups. I think it was probably like 2 months in when Michelle and I realized we couldn't handle it on our own. And then came Udina to help us with things. And then it grew more, and Sophie came on, and then Michelle. And then when we started breaking off into these topical subgroups, then we had people who were willing to volunteer their time. So I think it's important to recognize those people that we have been able to find, and that's another thing with the group. There's so many people willing to step up and help out. And actually, just today at a brunch, another girl came up to me and said that she would love to help out with anything if it's needed. So I think the group itself is a great resource as far as making things possible, because time costs, and since we're not getting paid for it, we need help as much as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. What I find quite fascinating of this is that, yeah, there is no profit being made out of this, but the power of community, as we have entitled this Hangout, which is a network that from there can, yes, enable, for example, a woman to get a job in a particular, with another person that is gotten to be known through these organizations. So I find that very important, because many times we believe that, this kind of friendships are very good ways to get certain benefits in the system, but when you're new in a city, you have no ability to get into these kind of connections and pointing you to where to go to get a particular job, for example. So I find that very relevant in terms of what you guys are doing. So in terms of the activities and also in the realms of charity, working, volunteering, I understand that you also have certain activities on that. So can you share with us, Michelle?
Yes, we within our subgroup, the community subgroup, we have events where we work with the refugees. I know Betsy knows more information than me on this, but we had a dancing with refugee girls. We had I think it was a dance class, and then coming up is going to be bowling with refugee boys. Betsy, I think you know this better than me.
Yeah, so we have a whole subgroup devoted to this, and the idea is that a lot of people were interested in volunteering, and they were asking questions where they could volunteer. So this subgroup developed out of the need for recommendations. So not only are we creating events, but people can also say, hey, I'm anywhere that I could go and volunteer for a little bit. And so that's one part of it. And then the other part of it is we do have 2 ladies who organize events every months that have to do with being involved in our community and a volunteer outreach program. So we've had three main things we've been doing. One of them was working with House de Maris. It's a refugee home in the 9th district, I believe. And once a month we would go up there and work a full shift because that home is run completely by volunteers. So they need people to sign up for a literal 8-hour shift to come in and clean and cook and organize and help them learn German or help them learn English, all those kind of things. We even sometimes deliver medicine, things like that. So that was one of the things, was working with House de Maris. And then the two recent projects we've been working on is there's two homes. Women from the group actually work in these. They're what's the English word? They're responsible for the kids, but these are refugees who are underage minors by themselves in this country, so without the name, without anyone for them. And there's a boys' home and a girls' home, so we an event each month with each group. The girls have been doing a dance class. We coordinated with the dance studio in Vienna. They pay their teacher to teach our class for free. Women come to the dance class with the girls, and they pay a fee to be in the dance class, but then that money goes towards sponsoring the girls' dinner. Then after this class, we'll go out to dinner to sort of encourage community involvement, to know people in your community, and welcoming these girls here too, because Vienna as well. And with the boys, we've been doing bowling because weather permitting right now, it's not so good to do outdoor activities, but it works the same way. We reserve a spot in the bowling alley. The women who show up to bowl with us cover the cost of one boy game, shoe rental, and then his dinner afterwards. And then we all go out for pizza, hang out, and we'll be doing a couple different things with them as time goes on, but we really like working with these two groups, and so we hope to continue that. So that's the community involvement group, but Michelle, I think, also will tell you about the broad drive we did.
I also read from you guys that you were involved in what is called a bra drive. So Michelle, can you explain us what it is? Because I know of other people that have gotten to know of that through videos, for example, in documentaries and so forth. But can you explain to us how this works?
Sure. We collaborated with Free the Girls Bra Drive. This is basically a fundraiser where women donate their clean, gently used bras, and these bras will go to women who have been they were sex traffickers. It was through human sex trafficking, and the bras will be used for them to make a living selling secondhand clothing. And we did this bra drive last year, and we were just surprised by the women who came forth and donating so many of these bras for this cause. It's been really great to see women come out and help for this. So.
Also, you know, in relation to talking about a hot topic also in the EU, which is the refugee crisis, the immigrants flooding and getting in large quantities in the EU, I'd like to know your perspective, guys, because you're directly working with a lot of women there, maybe not coming into Vienna for those reasons, but can you share your perspective on it, and how do you see it also there in that city? Betsy, would you like to go for it?
Yeah, for me, it's been a really emotional experience to be here during this. I think as an American citizen, as a U.S. citizen, a lot of times these conflicts are very far from us. But when people were coming in by the tens of thousands into the train station I used to get to work every day, it was incredible to see, and so heartbreaking in a way too. All these people leaving their home and coming for something and hopefully a better future, help them create a better future for themselves and their families. And there was a lot of negative sentiment that was discouraging, but then on the other hand, being in Vienna has really restored my faith in humanity, because there's been so many people coming out to help and to greet these people and to provide them with housing. I think there's probably 15 new organizations that Vienna surrounding this. One of them that my flatmate, a buddy system. So you sign up to have a refugee as your buddy, and you spend time with them each week and help them learn and help them learn the customs to help them integrate here comfortably, and also just show them around. But there's been such an amazing response that it's really encouraging to me. I think in the group we've also seen an overwhelmingly, when I say supportive response for the most part. Any comments that have come up, because sometimes, like Michelle was saying, we'll have discussions that turn towards heated discussions and can turn quickly towards arguments, but it's interesting to see where people and say, look, you've done one situation, and these people are really, they need to have left, or they wouldn't have left, and we need to help them find a place here and feel comfortable here and become a part of the community like we did. Michelle?
I don't have anything else to add for that matter, except that, yeah, we've just had some heated discussions in our community that we'd have to really keep an eye on, because not everybody gets along when it comes to refugees coming into the country.
Yeah, I figure that it is a controversial topic, but I like what also Betsy shared, that the people that do find it within themselves to assist, that they do come out, and that there's been organizations and that are being formed around this. So I find that very cool, and that you guys, of course, assisting women that are, wanting to be part of this, and eventually also extending that support to others. So I'd like to ask you also, can you share in your personal experience in your own life how this group has supported you? Because in the end it is born as a point of networking support between women. So can you share your personal experience, Michelle?
Yeah, I mean, I've made some great friends from this all, people that I can go out with, and I know that if I have a question, I can totally just go to the group, and I trust that there will be some sort of answers, or someone will direct me to something, or eventually will find my answer. So that's been really cool, because when I first started the group, I really didn't have friends. I quite isolated myself. So it was cool to finally have these events be created, have women wanting to meet each other. It also allowed me to develop in my social skills. I used to think, oh, I'm so shy, and oh, I'm so awkward in relationships or with friends. But really, just getting out there, going to these events, meeting the women, it's been really cool. It's benefited me in terms of my communication skills, and simply just being more confident in myself when it comes to being around people. So that's been cool.
I would add to that also the initiative, having that initiative to say, hey, there's no group like that, I will create it my own. I find that very valuable, and seeing it grow, I mean, that's really quite an accomplishment. So thank you for that. And Betsy, share with us.
Yeah, my pre-Women of Vienna friends often joke that Women of Vienna has fully integrated and taken over my life in some ways, but I wouldn't put it that way. I would say that it's changed my life completely. Like Michelle said, I've met a lot of new friends, like people that I count really among my close friends now, Michelle included, and I've grown so much from the group. Like she said, I never imagined having to be a conflict manager, and I think that is something that's really helped me become more understanding as well, because you have to place yourself in this neutral role where you have to think of what's best for everyone and think of each side of the story, and really build an environment where respect and empowerment and encouragement and kindness is the standard. and I think that's really helped me develop as a person and be more open-minded as well. I also just have loved watching girls. I've met so many people whose stories are just incredible and have really inspired me as well to just go the extra mile, put in the extra time, because this is worth it, because this is really not only changing other people's lives, but changing mine as well.
Something that I like about your organization and that I discovered while looking at how it is built and how it is organized is that you guys are making politics whether you're aware of not, because this world, this current system is designed to individualize people, not create any form of connections, community. So the power that is created through creating these meaningful relationships, you're already, introducing yourselves into the business world and growing the community. That is what makes a society work and function better, what makes it happier, in essence, that human connection aspect. So I find it very important that maybe more people around the world, we can, also be part of these kind of organizations or start it ourselves. So as a last point, Michelle, can you share with us first? What would you recommend for maybe other women or males, for that matter, of course, that would like to start an organization like Women of Vienna somewhere else in the world, like Women of Berlin, Women of London? What can you share about it?
Yeah, it would be awesome if there could be such communities like that. The organizers or the people who create such groups really should be able to have it needs to have guidelines, needs to have a direction, a purpose. What is this group going to be for? For me, it came from a need. I needed to go to a safe space where I can ask questions and get support. And I think that there should be communities like this where the organizers make sure that it is a safe space, that if there are conflicts, it does get directed immediately if possible, because that will make people feel more comfortable to open up, to share themselves, because they know that coming back to them will be something beneficial, will be something that they will like. So it would be cool if Betsy and I could train people or future organizers around the world, to do this. It would be really, really cool, or at least somehow influence them to do something like Women of Vienna.
Betsy.
I apologize, the music at the place I'm at just got really loud, so let me know if you can't hear me. But we actually, our group is very mobile, and girls often come, or women often come to the group and then they leave. They move on to the next step in their life, and I can't tell you the number of times where people have said, I really wish there were women of Berlin, and do it. I think, like Michelle said, having a goal and having a direction in mind is really important. Enthusiasm and actually being really excited about it, I think it's important, because that enthusiasm passes off to the members. Something else is just don't get discouraged. One of the very first events we did was a weekly pub quiz, and I would create the event and girls would show up, I'd reserve the tables, and we'd play pub quiz together. There were 2 times where I was the only person who showed up. It was just me, something happened, everyone else, plans changed. So there were a couple times I was sitting there by myself, but it, it's discouraging in that moment, but then all the other make up for those moments of disappointment. So just keep going, and what you're doing is great.
Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that. And it starts as simple as a group in Facebook, then later on a website, creating a blog, being very active in social media. They take awesome photography, so please, we will leave all the links in the description of this video to follow the blogs, the website, etc. And yes, I mean, this is, I would say, a model that can be replicated, and if you guys in the future can become like trainers or in a way of these kind of organizations, would be great. Currently, the organization in itself is not official, but what are the future plans for the organization? Michelle?
Betsy, you want to share? Oh, me. Okay. No, Betsy, please share.
Sorry. Yeah, we are working towards becoming an official Verein, the Austrian word for club, essentially, which would give us some official standing to make it possible to apply for grants, basically, for different projects. So it's a lot of research, especially since German is not our native language, and technical German can be a bit difficult. But that's another thing. The members have stepped up and said, if you need any help understanding things or creating a business plan or a plan for the organization, we have a lot of resources out there because there's so many women who are willing to offer their knowledge and their time and their expertise. So we hope that soon Women of Vienna will be an officially registered organization, and we'll be able to continue to grow from there. Our dream, we often talk about this dream of having an office and having a space where we can invite women to come and meet with us, and also host our own events there, have our own space, and really make this real. More real.
Awesome, because it is very common to see clubs, you know, for many purposes. But what I like about this is also the principles that Betsy was mentioning of how to create this climate of support and considering what is best for everyone. And sometimes, yes, having or being part of a group implies managing a lot of things that emerge between one another, and always make sure that the principles are set, which then those same principles at the same time become part of how one starts seeing the world and becomes not only the way to participate in the group, but also in the larger group, which is in society, which I find very meaningful. So to finalize our hangout, would you guys like to share any last comments, perspectives? Let me know. All right. Are you guys okay with it? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Betsy?
I would just really like to encourage anyone listening to consider life this because it's such a big experience for me. And I think it's common as a woman to be told no, or to think you can't do something, or to question your strength. But it's really helped me become confident in my strength and know that I really can make things happen when I'm excited about it, when I have the passion, when I have this dream, like, and use the resources around me and become a part of the community. You can really make these things happen. So remember your strength and use it. And thank you so much for hosting us. I might also lose battery.
Don't worry, we are now done. So thank you very much for both of you for being here. Keep up the great work, empowering women, empowering yourselves, and why not the community? Because this is not only about, you know, being women in itself, but in essence, changing who you are in becoming a person that is willing to support yourself and others extends to everyone in society, and especially when talking about immigration and expats and people that get into a new culture, in essence. So thank you very much, ladies, and I will see you some other time. Best of luck for your organization as well. So thanks to you, the viewer, as well, and we will see you next month for another hangout. Next week is Politics of Self, so please take a look at it. It's going to be very interesting, very recommendable, so keep an eye on that at the same time of these hangouts. Bye, ladies, and see you some other time.
Bye. Thank you.